Welcome, everyone. This is our first edition of a new series. We're doing an Ad Legends video series where we get to sit down over Zoom with one of the ad industry leaders that we know and talk a little bit about big shifts we're seeing in the market. And I'm super excited to kick it off with Jeremy Cornfeldt, the CEO of iProspect. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you, Matt. How are you?
Good. I'm good. And today we're going to be talking about a little bit about YouTube and CTV and brand suitability across both of them. Before we started, I was telling Jeremy ahead of time that I got a puppy at the beginning of the pandemic who is now grown into a pretty big dog. And he likes to grab his squeaky toys in the middle of whenever I'm doing an important call or a recording of any kind. So he may do that. In fact, I'll see, he's right at my feet right now. I'll show you. That is Norman.
There's Norman.
Norman, the wonder dog, who has grown from a small pup to a 76-pound dog. Do you have any pets?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I have Cody. He's in the other room, so I can't tilt the computer. But here's a picture, and he is.
Oh, nice.
Who thinks he's big, and he's not a puppy, even though he looks like a.
I love the small dogs that think they're big. That's great.
Oh yeah, he's totally got small man's disease.
Nice.
But that's why you love him.
For folks that don't know iProspect, give us a little taste of what you guys do.
Yeah, so we are a performance marketing agency. And right now, digital and performance is at our core, but we offer full service across all media channels. So we even have clients where we manage all of the offline planning as well as the digital. But performance, search, driving results, this is at our heritage. And we work with clients of all shapes and sizes, and some where we're working in individual channels and others where we're working across the entire gamut of all of their media.
Let's talk a little bit first about YouTube. I think in general, I think in the past, folks have thought of video platforms in general as good brand awareness tools, but not very good at anything middle to bottom of the funnel. I think what we're seeing at Pixability is brands are finding more and more ways to drive things beyond just views and impressions on YouTube. And I was wondering if you guys are seeing the same trend with brands you're working with. I mean, obviously it's something that people have always wanted, but we're actually seeing people successfully doing it now. Is this something you guys are seeing at iProspect as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we come at it with the approach, and I personally think about it that all media needs to be performance media. And I think if you start from that place and understanding that all media needs to be performance media, and then putting a specific sort of definition around what does, how am I qualifying performance? I think that that then enables you to really start to understand what is the value that you can get out of it. And then, the thing with YouTube as well, I think that clients have struggled with how do they optimize for results. And I think that there's a lot that they have at their fingertips. You obviously have to look at how you're targeting, what are you paying, but you also have to look at the creative. And I think people underestimate the value and the shorter formats and the impact that you can have in a shorter period of time. But once you start to hone in on that formula, and there's sort of no key to success, a lot of it is trial and error and test and learn. Mm-hmm. Once you hone in on that formula, the results can be astounding because it is the most immersive. It is the most immersive format, and when you get it right, we've seen clients really deliver astounding results. And the other thing with YouTube too is it is a search engine still. Mm-hmm. So there is that back and forth that you're already having with your end user. So there's a lot of elements where it's blurring the line. So even though us as marketers thought about it one way, if you really sort of redefine the platform, how it's used, and everything that you have to optimize, you can treat it as a performance vehicle.
The other piece of the puzzle that I'd love to ask your opinion on now is the whole sort of brand safety and suitability
Sure.
talk and how
Mhm.
that applies, since when, with TV advertising, you're let, you generally know what shows you're going to advertise on, and you know how appropriate they are for your brand. Whereas in video, it's a lot more, it feels scarier. It feels like you don't know where your ad's going to show up.
Mhm.
And we saw a few years ago where brand safety was like the biggest concern for a lot of advertisers, and it still is for many. Um,
Mhm.
are you seeing that? We're seeing sort of a shift where brand safety is sort of table stakes. It has to be brand safe. Like,
Yeah.
of course, you have to have brand safety, but we're seeing more and more people say we're more interested in what's being called brand suitability, which is really aligning our content with, or aligning our messages with content that aligns with our brand
Yep.
in a way that will drive performance. So it's much more about content alignment that drives performance versus just keep my ads away from really scary content. Is that something that you guys are seeing as well in clients? This sort of trend towards like suitability and performance
Yeah.
and safety.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, a couple things. One, I do feel like the platforms have made huge strides in terms of brand safety. And, some of it
Yeah,
has been technology, some of it's been, more people
yeah,
helping to police it. And I think that they've made huge strides in that. There's always going to be work to do. There's always going to be challenges. There's always going to be things to manage against. But it's definitely got everybody's attention. And I feel like we're as an industry, taking a more proactive approach rather than a reactive approach. So I think that in and of itself helps give brands some comfort that that there are protective measures in place. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be 100% perfect, but we know that it's gotten so much better over time.
hmm
And yeah, we talk to our brands about three things. It's about audience, it's about content, and then it's about context as well.
hmm
Um, and so those three things become incredibly important when we're starting to think about brand and safety and alignment, and where they want to be. And so who are the audience, and is this the audience that I want, and is it not the audience that I want?
We actually had a campaign for an auto company recently where the top performing content was books and literature. So it wasn't, it wasn't necessarily something you'd think of as the content
Yeah.
that you immediately think of, but it's where we found the most people that were looking for this kind of car, that had
Yes.
recently been to dealers, that had done
Yes.
all this other stuff. So
But I think that's a really interesting example, because it's an audience that was looking for a specific car, and you found them in a certain category.
yeah,
That might not necessarily be the same category for a different type of model car.
totally,
And
totally.
um, that's the constant mindset shift that you
Yeah,
have to take with your clients, of letting the data guide you a little bit,
yeah,
and reacting in real time as you're uncovering things, and know that you might discover something new.
yep,
Uh, that sort of complexity can be overwhelming.
yeah,
But one of the other things we love to tell our clients is, every time a situation becomes more complex, that breeds opportunity. And if you can look at it through that lens of, the more complex it gets, the more opportunity I have to be successful,
that's
then
right.
all of a sudden, you can see their eyes kind of light up, and they get
Yeah.
excited about it, because now all these things that seemed daunting before actually seem like, this is going to be so many different ways that I can build my business.
How are you talking to folks about, again, about CTV as a whole? I mean, YouTube is a piece of that, but across all the ad supported platforms, how they should be approaching it.
Yeah, well, one of the things that we're saying to clients, and I think that it actually, it's almost the step before you thinking about CTV, is there's a mindset shift, right? From when you were watching linear television to when you're watching CTV. And it always goes back to understanding the audience. And the more you understand the audience, and you understand not only their behaviors, but their motivations and their attitudes, then that can help not only shape how you want to target them, and where you want to engage with them on whatever journey they are on, whether it's a passive or an active journey. But it also helps you start think about, how you want to approach the messaging. So to your point, like with CTV, one of the things that we are also encouraging our clients to think about, and I think, what happens is when you start talking about messaging and you start talking about different channels and platforms, like a couple things go through their minds. One is it's going to increase my costs because I'm going to have to rethink creative.
Mhm.
And two, is this going to proliferate my media too much? And am I not going to have enough working media in one area to really make an impact? And so how we can help guide them through that process, I think, is really important.
I like to end it with a little personal note, just in terms of you, what you watch on YouTube and sort of what
Yeah.
what you like to do, especially during this work from home time. Are there types of videos that you like to watch?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is sort of embarrassing. I mean, I love just sort of all the different content creators that you find on YouTube, and I find myself, I mean, I'll go there for a lot of different content, but the stuff that I'm most consistent about is like passion areas. So I'm big into cars, and I belong to a sports car club, and
Mhm.
I'll track my car when I can, and so I'll there's endless amounts of content around that. So I'm
Mhm.
always finding new things to watch and discovering new creators, and listening to their opinions, and seeing them drive different things. So that's fun. I use it a lot for research too. So last night, when I was trying to numb my mind as I was watching the election results and not get too stressed, I just started doing some research on boats. So I have a boat, and maybe a few years down the road, thinking about something that I could get that might be a little bit bigger, that I could do better adventures on. So I was doing some research on that there too. And I mean, it's so great when you look at how in depth the content gets, and it's such an interactive, way to find things that you're looking at. It doesn't always have to be about entertainment. It can be about other things that you're passionate about.
Well, thanks again, Jeremy. This was great. Look forward to chatting soon, but thanks again.
Yeah, no problem, man.
All
Take
right.
care.
Thanks, Jeremy. Take care.
All right. You too.